G'day, my name's Joel Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his fight at LFA 181, I'm talking to Mr. Isaac Thomson. Isaac, I thank you very much for your time. I'm not above admitting my mistakes. I accidentally called you Isaac Thomas because I was so focused on not saying Thompson with the P that I psyched myself out. But
It's all good.
I do know who you are. I do know your name, and I do appreciate your time. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing. You'd be surprised. A lot of people say Thomas. I've been fighting for LFA since I was 18, so it's about 19, 20, 3, 4 years now, and they still say Thomas. So
I'm trying to be better. I'm
it's all
trying to be better.
good.
You're a man who I saw. I don't know how recently. So you've been fighting for LFA since you were 18, and over there you're like exclusive to LFA. Have you always
Mhm.
have you always been exclusive to LFA?
No. Just the recent past year. Last year I signed a contract with them,
And
but
that's
no, I've had a few fights with other companies as well.
4 fight contract for LFA, right?
Yeah.
Must be nice. Like I know we'll talk about it later in the interview, but I know you do have kind of a roadmap and some plans. But must
Mhm.
like, is it nice to be like, at least I know where if those plans don't happen, I know where I'm gonna land. Like I know I still have fights here.
Oh yeah, it's super reassuring, and it's nice to know because LFA is like one of the best, if not the best, in America, MMA promotion. So having that as an opportunity just to be able to stay with them, even if I don't go to the UFC right now, I can still fight with those guys. It's such a nice opportunity.
So I've been very fortunate. I covered the Australian scene. I talked to a lot of Australian fighters, uh, and a lot of them are people in the Australian scene down here. You're the first guy, as far as I know, who I've interviewed who is living overseas and fighting overseas, doing that thing. So first off, very cool for me. Thank you for living overseas.
Awesome.
Um, I don't mean to just ask a question of like the life story, but when did you move to the US and what was that story like?
So I moved to Miami when I was 16. I was still in and out every 3 months. That's as long as my visa would let me stay at the time. But yeah, I was living over there, training there for the past 2 years. I turned 18. I was able to get a P1 visa, which allowed me to stay for the next 5 years, I think it was at the time. Um, so then I ended up moving over to California. Here I am.
And so what was the move? The move was purely to
Uh,
fight?
yeah, just a fight, just a fight. I needed some wrestling. And obviously the wrestling is definitely over in America. And yeah, I ended up training at Team Alpha Male, and they've helped my wrestling out like leaps and bounds.
So that's obviously like a huge decision to make. And how old did you say you were?
I was 16 when I moved to Miami, 18 when I moved to Cali.
There are people who are in the fight scene now who, and for their own reasons, like it's obviously it's a very big thing to do, don't go all in on themselves and they are like full grown adults. To
Mhm.
be 16 and going, I'm going to fly to the other side of the planet to go all in on myself. Like, how do you make that decision? What was that like?
I'm super fortunate to have parents who are super supportive. So it was my parents, it was their idea to send me over here, and because they knew that back home we don't have the wrestling. So it was their choice to send me over to America and get a lot of competition and a lot of wrestling, and so yeah,
So, if I'm not
it's exciting.
mistaken, your mother was a professional Muay Thai fighter.
Yep. She fought Muay Thai. I think she had like 12 fights, finished most of her fights. She knocked a lot of ladies out.
What is that as a young kid growing up and your mother's a fighter?
Mhm.
What is that like for you? Like, what was that like growing up?
Super inspirational. Yeah, I thought it was really cool that my mom fought. A little bit scary. Uh, but yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
I would imagine it's got to be like super scary. Was
Yeah.
there did that feeling of like be like nervousness for you ever like go away, or was every time she stepped in there where you're like, oh, my mother?
I was still pretty young, but yeah, no, it was definitely nerve-wracking for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Was your father a fighter or a martial artist at all?
Yeah, so he grew up doing like kung fu and boxing and martial arts. He never like stepped into the ring and stuff, but he also we ended up owning some gyms as well at the time. So he did karate, he got his black belt karate, he got his black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. And he was more like the martial art style rather than the fighting.
Okay. And so your father's Maori, your mother's
Yep.
Australian. Are
Yep.
those gyms in New Zealand? Were those gyms in Australia?
They're in Sydney.
Oh, okay,
They're in
cool.
Sydney, yep.
Did
Yep.
you ever do any training like under your father?
Oh yeah, yeah. My dad used to wrap my hands. He used to wrap my mom's hands as well. But yeah, my parents were my first coaches before I ended up moving over here and obviously finding other coaches back home.
What is that like when your parents are your coaches? Win or don't come
Um,
home.
yeah, so it was if I didn't win any of my competitions or fights, the punishment was to go sleep underneath the stairs. So I was lucky. I very rarely lost growing up. I probably did over like 300 jiu-jitsu matches. I only lost like a handful, probably like 10 maybe. Um, I was undefeated in Muay Thai as well, so I was really lucky there.
I like how
But
you remember the number as well. So it's like I even though there's not a lot, I hold on to those
yeah,
losses.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so you did. How old were you when you started doing BJJ?
8, and I started competing when I was 8 as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you always had that kind of competitive edge to yourself?
I think so. I wasn't a super competitive kid. It was definitely my parents helped push me into becoming as competitive as I am. But yeah, I just clicked when it came to martial arts, and I was winning all the time, especially in jiu-jitsu as a kid. I also competed in karate and some other like weapons and kata and all that growing up as well. Um, yeah, I had more success in the jiu-jitsu and growing up.
So growing up like in a so were you born in Australia?
Yep. Yep.
Born
City.
born and raised Sydney. I
Hmm.
know I'm from Melbourne, so I know Sydney's more rugby town.
Hmm.
But you grow up, you get into martial arts as a young age. Was there any other sports that like a lot of people go from one sport into martial arts? Did you
Hmm.
ever play anything else or do anything else growing up?
Yeah, I did some rugby and a little bit of tennis as well. I really liked rugby. It was pretty fun, but I don't know. I picked up martial arts a lot faster, and yeah, my
You probably
parents jumped into it too. They started to open up some gyms, so it was more of like a family thing.
you probably liked the tackling people aspect of rugby.
Yeah, yeah. I was quick too. I was a quick kid. I was winger, so yeah,
As someone
it was
from
fun.
Melbourne, I have no clue what that means.
It's like you're on the side,
Uh,
but yeah,
r-
you can be quick for that one.
running into people.
Yeah.
So I know for the I say I know. I believe when you moving was it 16 the first time you went to the US?
No, so I was 14. I went over there to compete in Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, and I'd had a pancration fight at the same time as well. That's when we ended up going to because Jiu-Jitsu Worlds is in LA. So I
Mm.
ended up going to Sacramento to get some wrestling in for my pancration fight. So I did my the Worlds, competed in that, then went over to Alpha Male, and that's where I met my roommate Alex. He was also in the UFC, Alex Munoz. Also met Uriah, touched base with all those guys, and then had my pancration fight and stuff. I was
Well,
14.
that's so crazy to me. Like it's really interesting looking at like an athlete like yourself because as I mentioned earlier, like a lot of the scene, it's people from other sports moving into fighting. But you're a
Hmm.
guy who's like brought up with the goal of fighting.
Yeah.
I know this may not necessarily be a question, but maybe just getting your thoughts on it. Do you feel like maybe you represent that shift of of the next generation of fighters who view fighting as the whole goal?
Yeah, 100%. I'm definitely the next generation. Um, I have all like the whole MMA game. Like you can take me down. I know submissions. I can wrestle. You can stand back up with me. I know how to strike. Like there's nowhere in MMA where that I have a hole. So I'm definitely the next generation. I grew up doing this, and yeah, it's my life.
So you mentioned just there, you're meeting Alex Munoz. If I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, is he your roommate at the moment?
Yep, yep. Yeah, I live with him. I've been living with him since I was 18.
So you go from
Him and his
having
wife.
your parents being your coaches to having your
It's been my
roommate.
roommate.
What is
Yeah.
that like? Can you escape it at
Oh
all?
man. No, there's no escape, but it is the best. Having a UFC fighter as my roommate, we both get to push each other, and obviously he's a good friend of mine, coach, my main coach as well, and it is, yeah, it's a blessing in disguise for sure.
So you move over to the States, you're full-time training at a Team Alpha Male.
Mhm.
Throughout the US, did you ever like go and look at any other gyms?
Yep. I was over at KO Zone. It's a smaller like striking martial art gym in Miami. I've also trained with Henry Hooft and all those guys over at Henry's gym at what were they? They're Hard Knocks 365. They're now Kill Cliff. Um Trained with those guys. I trained a bit with Colby Covington at ATT. My manager at the time was good friends with Colby. Um where have I gone? Yeah, I think that's about it. Those three gyms in Miami and then over here and just with Alpha Male.
So uh, actually proving my point, there's so many that you're actually like, I don't really remember them all.
Yeah.
And that's not even getting into the training you've done in Australia,
Oh,
which,
I've been everywhere.
yeah,
Back
exactly.
home. Yeah.
And like I obviously, as someone who covers the sport, I love the Australian scene. But
Hmm.
to like those names just then that you listed, what is that like for you? Where like not just at your own, like the gym you call home right now has got world class UFC talent, one talent, but
Hmm.
not only that, but you've been going to other places as well in your career, and you're like, yep, and there's a UFC title holder, and there's that guy. Like, what
Yeah.
is that like for you as a young man becoming an MMA athlete?
So, when I first met everyone and like I was first going here, I had no idea who was who. So I had trained with what's his name? I just did this on another podcast. I forgot his name.
Stealing,
Um,
I believe it was Rashad Evans.
yeah, Rashad
I
Evans. There
I
you go.
watched
You
I watched
watched
that
it.
podcast, and I was
So
like,
I met Rashad Evans and I was sparring him and I had no idea who he was. My mom was like, "You know who that was?" I was like, "No." Same thing, like Cody Garbrandt. I didn't really know too much about him and I've helped him a lot with sparring and stuff. Yeah, like nowadays I'm like, holy, like, damn, I'm pretty lucky to be out training with all these guys. Like right now, Song Yudong too. I'm training a lot with him. It's really really cool to be able to train and have these guys as my mates.
in Australia, it feels like, at least from what I've seen, one UFC fighter making it from a gym. Like one local guy becomes a UFC fighter. It feels like
Hmm.
it elevates kind of the whole gym,
Yeah.
and everyone can get better. And that's just with like one guy.
Hmm.
When you walk into a team alpha male and there's so much of that talent, like what is that like?
Competitive, super competitive, and there's definitely like a pecking order when it comes to stuff like that. Um, you just have your top dogs. You got your Andre Phillies and all those guys at the top, and then you have your guys like me kind of in the middle, and obviously the guys that are just starting out. But yeah, a little bit intimidating, but man, it's so cool.
I was gonna say, as like you said there, you kind of fall in the middle as someone who's knocking on that door. Where do you
Hmm.
kind of like sit in the pecking order?
I'm up there. I'm up there. I feel like I'm up there now. I've feel like I've kind of proved my point around the gym that I'm definitely one of the top. Like I'm one of the rising guys, and um, it's only a matter of time where I'll probably be towards the top.
When you're in a gym with so many of like those high level guys, like how does the literal coaching work? Like, is it like someone teaches them and then they teach everyone else, or like what is that like?
Well, we have Uriah. He still comes in and he coaches twice a week. We got some other like main coaches. Um, yeah, usually we'll have like team practice in the morning every day from Monday to Friday. We have those that team practice, and we have our main coaches. So we have a couple coaches that will train us in the morning, and then you go and just do your own thing during the day for your other stuff.
Before we were trying to line this up, the interview, you went to the doctor, you got your eyes dilated.
Mm-hmm.
If what was that? If we can talk about that, like, what was that?
Oh, so to be able to fight over here, I don't know if you have to do it back home, but just part of one of like the health things, you have to go and get your eyes dilated so they can check if you have any like tears in your cornea and all that stuff.
Okay.
Crazy to think that I've had two teammates. One he wasn't able to fight this week because he didn't know, but he had a tear on his eye,
Oh my God.
like where his cornea is. Yeah. And then a couple months ago, another mate that is trained at our gym had the same thing. And they're just going in to get their checkup for so they can fight for the medical, and yeah, they can't fight after the because they got a bloody tear.
Is you're okay? You passed?
Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
I got 2020. I'm chilling.
Oh, okay. Flex, casual flex.
Yeah.
Okay, I know. I got my glasses here. Let me just look at my questions. um, so are you living are you living over there? Is your family over there with you? Your parents?
No, just me, Alex, and his wife.
Okay. What was that like to like, bye, mum and dad? I will be moving.
I was 16 at the time, so I thought it was really cool. I was loving it. Now I miss my parents, but yeah, it's a good sacrifice. It'll pay off at the end, and yeah. My dad gave me a choice. It was either to fight or to come to work with him, wake up at 5 in the morning every day and go work with him on the tools. And I chose wanting to travel, beat some guys up, get to do my dream, and I was fortunate enough that they allowed me to do that. And
Getting punched in the head by Alex Munoz.
exactly. Yeah.
Out of those two options, wake up at 5 a.m., get punched in the head by Alex Munoz.
I'd get punched in the head, get to make my own schedule, wake up when I want to wake up. It's awesome.
I don't blame. As someone, my father also works in the tools and was like, come work for me. I understand not picking that.
It's not the life you want to live.
They're still living in Sydney?
Yeah, 100. Yeah.
Do you get a chance? How often do you get a chance to come back to Australia?
Probably 1-2 times a year. I'll probably go for like at the end of the year for Christmas, or like in the middle of the year if I have to.
Okay. And then I saw looking through your Instagram, I think last Christmas you went to the UK and saw some family over there.
Yeah, I went to New Zealand last Christmas, and then
maybe the Christmas
over
before.
COVID I went to the UK.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
I understand, obviously, family in New Zealand. Why is everyone so spread out? Why is there people in the UK? They're everywhere.
My auntie moved over to the UK because she was just like nannying and stuff. She met a guy over there, and she's living over there now. So yeah, all my family's spread out.
When you do travel, obviously you're like if you're traveling to the UK, you're seeing family. If you're traveling back to Australia, you're seeing family. It's family trip. But do you ever like, I could stop in at that gym. I could go over. I could maybe do some rounds of freestyle while I'm here.
Yeah, I like to. So there's a couple gyms back home I like to go to. I still need to go and stop over at freestyle. It's a few hours away from where I live, and it's a little bit out of the way. But yeah, I always want to go to a little gym and see how my stuff's going. A little test and
what are
see
those
some
gyms?
friends. The last time I went to, do you know Sabotic? What's his name?
Yes.
Yeah, Sabotic. Yeah, I went over there. I've known him for a long time. Where else? Sydney West Jiu-Jitsu. I like to go there and do a lot of jiu-jitsu when I'm home.
I believe Tyson Pedro does some jits out of there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Igor MMA. Sometimes I'll go over with those guys as well. It's just depending on how long I'm home for, will depend on if I go back to a gym or not. Usually like last year I had like 4 fights. and I had nothing going on. So I went home and didn't really do much.
Living different lives, 4 fights and nothing going on.
Yeah.
I did.
So
I had a question about that because you were super active. You had 4 fights. I was
mhm,
going to ask about that activity and why that came to be.
mhm. I had a whole year off before that. So I didn't fight for a whole year, and I just wanted to double down on my wrestling. So there was no time to waste there. I was finishing all my guys, I was winning all my fights, so I just kept get as many fights as I can. I want to get to the UFC, and I can't do that unless I'm fighting.
To go like, what is that like on the mentality when you're going from a year no fights to 4 fights in a year?
Relief. Finally get to do the fun bit. The training is the hard part. That stuff sucks. I want to fight as much as possible. Same thing as Alex Volgi. Like he's fighting as much as possible. I want to do the same thing.
So, as you said in this interview, you move over to the States to really hone that wrestling craft.
Mm-hmm.
But I know wrestling isn't jiu-jitsu, but no subs on your professional record. All stoppages by KOs, the stoppages are.
Mm-hmm.
What was the trip worth it then? If you're just going and knocking everyone out, like why even have the wrestling?
I can't get taken down now.
Oh, of
I
course.
Yeah, so my one loss in my pro record, I actually threw up a bunch of submissions and I tore the guy's knee. I popped ligaments in both his arms. Like I hit like 4 or 5 different subs straight back to back, and he just wrestled me. Like I got super tired, just wrestled me, beat me up, and after that, we were like, that's not happening ever again. I'm not getting wrestled ever again. And now I do the same thing. If a guy tries to take me down, I'll just get back up, beat the shit out of him. If not, if I have to, I can take a guy down and wrestle them. My Gary Conkle fight, I actually just sat in the guy's guard the whole time and just rained elbows, and he wasn't able to do his jiu-jitsu stuff because I got top heavy wrestling now. So
It's the
yeah,
Chuck Liddell school of wrestling. I will
yeah,
not be able to take him down so I can knock you out.
exactly.
The trade-off.
Yeah, but I'm looking for subs. Um, they're just tough to get, especially on like if you go against the NCAA D1 wrestler. They're like it's hard to sub guys like that.
Of course.
You don't necessarily like my last 2 fights. I went against just two strong nugget guys, and like there's no way I'm subbing any like those two. I didn't want to take the last guy was he was on Team USA for wrestling, which is like one of the best wrestling you can get. So I was gonna take him down, and then the guy before that was black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I was like, I didn't need to take them down. I just need to strike and just do my thing.
When you're going up against guys like that, and obviously you've gone to the States to learn the wrestling, but
Mm-hmm.
as an Australian, we don't have that like from
Not
high
at all.
school we're wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that affect your mentality, and how do you kind of keep your confidence and composure when you're going against a guy who's got like Team USA wrestling?
So actually now I'm super confident. Like no one's taking me down. Just because of the training partners and what I'm doing in the room is like a lot better than I used to. But I also fought a guy who was a D1 wrestler, and he didn't shoot, and I knocked him out in like it was like the first round, first 2 minutes, and after that, yeah, I had that little bit of like worry in my head, but now I fought a few guys who are really good at wrestling, and it's just so no problem.
Is when you're at Team Alpha Male, like it feels like yet again, just things I've noticed from the Australian scene. It can kind like fights can kind of go in waves where a gym will sign kind of everyone to a fight in the same kind of maybe 3 week period. So like
Mm-hmm.
everyone gets ready together and then everyone's off and then everyone's on and then everyone's off. But when you're in a gym where it seems that like people are fighting so often at so many different levels. What is
Mm-hmm.
that like, that kind of constant busy work?
It's really cool. I really like seeing all my teammates fight, and it helps me drive to get my fights too, because I'm seeing these guys like we have a fight almost every week. It's weird for us to see a week where someone's not fighting. Like we had this conversation the other day. We were like, oh my God, no one's fighting this week. Like, what the hell? But it like seeing all my teammates fight gives me the drive to be like, I should be fighting. Like it should be my name's up on, like we have a board where everyone's name is written down. Like my name should be up there. And so it's a good drive. Definitely a good drive.
Some people, understandably so, like when their teammates fight, can get nervous. Does that still happen, or because your teammates fight so often, are you like, this is just another week to us?
No, I get nervous when my teammates fight for sure. There's
Oh
definitely
god.
that nerves, and I'm like, oh my God. Like I get real excited when I'm watching them fight. But yeah, no, the nerves are still there for them. I honestly I get more nervous when my friends fight than I do myself.
So
It's really weird.
so many fighters say that. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
control thing. When you fight, you
Yeah.
can control what happens. Does that mean, are you just in like a constant state of nervousness then because everyone's fighting like every week?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm always stressed out.
Yeah. Isaac, are you okay? Just white knuckling constantly?
Literally. Um,
What is talking about your fight upcoming? What is the American fight scene like? I know you didn't have any pro fights over here, but you did your amateurs in
mhm.
Australia. How do the scenes kind of compare to each other?
Um, I feel like there's a lot more competition over here. I don't know if you look on Tapology, there's like well over 1,000 pro featherweights, and then if you look in the Australian one, it's like a few hundred. So the opportunities to get fights is a lot easier. But that's saying there's a lot of badass guys over here. Like pretty much everyone wrestles. A lot of guys that are moving into the MMA scene right now are like D1 wrestlers, top tier wrestlers. So it's a little bit harder competition, but yeah, it's good opportunities for sure.
It's exciting. See, this is as fighters are built different. There's a lot of hard
Yeah.
guys over here. I really like it.
Yeah, it's good. Like pressure makes diamonds.
Of course. Your upcoming fight is against Shasine Santana. Uh,
Mhm.
do you know anything about your opponent? What are your thoughts on him?
Uh, I know a little bit, just from what my coaches have watched. He's a jiu-jitsu guy that likes to strike. It's like my first non-wrestler. This is great. And he's tall. I don't have to worry about them shooting on me. I'm really hoping I just knock this guy out, or if he tries to take me down, show that I have jiu-jitsu too, and get a sub. There's a couple things that I have to worry about. He has fought some pretty good guys as well, and he's super lanky, so I gotta watch out for that, like some tricky jiu-jitsu stuff. But other than that, it's not a super technical fighter.
And if you go out there and you get either either finish you're talking about, whether it be a sub or a KO, where does that put you, and what do you think comes next?
Contender. I'm one fight away, and then I go straight to contender. I'm get this finish, and then yeah, I have a tentative date. Uriah has spoken to Sean Shelby about me, so and Sean's watched my fights before as well, so I just got to get this finish and then straight to contender, straight to the UFC.
That's very exciting. I'm very happy to hear those opportunities are
Yeah.
coming your way.
Oh,
What how
yeah,
did
me
like
too.
how does this fight feel then, knowing that you're kind like on the doorstep?
Not as nerve-wracking as my last one because uh I was told Sean was watching my last one too, but I didn't get the finish. And it was at like 10,000 feet elevation. Like it was some insane elevation. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking my last one. But this one, it's like 800 feet elevation. There's no elevation. I fought at this place before. And yeah, it's just like another fight for me. And I'm super confident I'm going to win this.
So as someone, as we spoke about, like you have started your journey with this all in mind, to know like this is not it, because I know your goal is UFC champion, but to
Hmm.
be like, this is obviously the big step. How is it
Hmm.
kind of everything leading to this?
It's been a long time coming. I've been waiting years and years for this opportunity, and to see that it's finally like I'm only like a couple more steps away to being in the UFC. is it's super relieving and very, very, very exciting.
Now with this season of Tough that is currently filming, your weight class is involved. There's a featherweight category. Did you try out for that at all? Did you send in a video?
Yeah, yeah, they hit me up and my manager helped me out a little bit. I tried out. But yeah, I got through like a couple stages of it, and yeah, they already picked everyone. But yeah, I actually have a mate on there right now, Ryan Loader. He's on the heavier weight division. So yeah, I'm waiting to see how he's going.
Absolutely. There's an Aussie in there, so I'm
Yeah,
waiting
yeah,
with
I'm
bated
excited to see
breath.
that too.
I'm excited for Khan, and now because you are teammates with Ryan, I'm now excited for Ryan.
Hell yeah.
Um, what is how do those like just your thoughts like those compare to each other, a contender versus a tough?
hmm
Just
Uh,
like those opportunities, what are your thoughts on like both?
um, I didn't necessarily want the tough situation. It came up first, and I was like, all right, we might as well see if I can take that. But to be able to have a contract with LFA, be asked to be on tough, and then also have an opportunity to be able to go on contender is just it's like win-win-win for me. And the fact that they're like my name is going towards all of those is um it's really cool. It's yeah, I really like it reassures that I am as good as some people say I am.
Got that momentum building going in the right direction.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
you mentioned about you've sparred with people in your career and trained with people and not necessarily known who they were. Did you know who Uriah was before you went to Team Alpha Male?
No, and he subbed me so many times. He hit me with those famous guillotines, and I had no idea. And then like, my mom again, she's just like, "Do you know who that is?" I'm like, "No, I have no idea." Like, but yeah,
Is this at 16?
yeah, yeah. I was 16. I
Beating
was
up this
beaten,
child.
getting beat up, but yeah, it's really cool.
Have you gone back and looked at whether it be Uriah's career, Cody Garbrandt you spoke about? Like, do you go back and kind of look at what these guys have done?
Yeah, yeah, man, it's insane. It's crazy.
Is it
It's crazy what they've achieved.
is it strange when you see that and then you're like, and that guy's training me?
Yeah, it's super strange. Like, the fact that he's like our main coach, he still comes in and he coaches every day, and he helps the team out so much. It's like, yeah, that like it's yeah, it's so cool.
He just had a combat A1 combat. Is that what his promotion is called?
Mm-hmm.
He just had one of those events, I think, last night
Yes,
for
sir.
us
Yeah.
in Australia. Yes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know we already established, we talked about it. You've got the LFA contract, but was you fighting on that promotion like ever spoken about?
Yeah, we thought about it. And then LFA ended up giving me a contract. So then I ended up sticking with LFA, and at the time A1 had just opened up, so they
Yeah.
weren't as popular as like they've grown really, really big now. Um, but yeah, at the time the LFA was the better route for me.
Of course, you want as many eyes as possible.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
Now that was our little fight talk portion done. I got just a couple, just a little bit more chat.
hmm
I see behind you there is some Star Wars art. Are you a big Star Wars fan? Oh, and a guitar.
Oh yeah, I'm more of the guitar. Oh, where is it? This way. Yeah, guitar right there. Um, oh, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Big Star Wars fan. I'm all into the lore and stuff about that. But both my roommates actually, they painted them.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. The other one's gone, but yeah, they're super creative. Those two.
Which is your favorite Star Wars movie or like show or whatever?
Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, classic,
Yeah, it's the best.
classic. Are you? Do you also play guitar? Is that yours back there?
Yep. Yeah. We have both me and my roommate Alex. We both play guitar. Yeah, I love guitar.
Bit of a band forming.
Yeah, we jam all the time. That and video gaming is If I'm not training, I'm playing guitar or I'm playing video games.
What type of music are you playing?
Anything, mostly country. It's a lot easier to play.
Okay.
But yeah, whatever. Honestly, if I find a song that I like scrolling through like TikTok or I found a song on Spotify that I like, I'll try and learn that on guitar, and it's usually pretty easy to learn.
What where does that like love for country come from? Were you raised on it or just you like it?
No, I didn't like country until I moved to Cali, and Alex started playing it in the car to all our hikes, and I kind of just end up really liking them. Yeah, I like country music. It's yeah,
What and what
good
games are you
songs.
playing? You mentioned they're a bit of a
Just
gamer.
COD, Call of
Oh,
Duty. Yeah,
very
big
nice.
Call of Duty. Yeah,
You doing Warzone? Are you doing the new
yeah. I'm
one?
on the war zone. I'm on the war
Classic.
zone.
I'm terrible
Yeah.
at Warzone. I die instantly. Anything where you get
I'm
one
big on
life, I'm terrible at it.
it.
Do
Yeah, it's tough.
do you get many victories in Warzone?
Yeah, yeah, at least like one a day
All
or
right. All right, bit
one a
of a
week,
flex
but
flex there.
not as good as like the pros. They get multiple wins, hundreds of wins, but yeah, we play every day, so
You hold your own.
yeah, hold on.
First you get 2020 vision and now you're good at first person shooters. All right, man. Leave
Well,
something
I've
for
been
me.
playing it all my life too. Like I grew up playing video games. It was either helping my parents at the gym, training a little bit, and playing video games.
The perfect male
Yeah,
life.
the best.
This is what any man should have tried strive to
Literally.
have.
Yeah.
Literally alpha male. Outside of just COD strictly.
Yeah, yeah, just COD. Growing up, I used to play a lot of different games, but all my friends now they only play COD, so yeah, we stick with the Warzone.
Your PC man console.
Yeah, PC.
Oh, classic.
I gotta have that edge.
Oh, of course, got to get the extra frames.
Yeah, exactly.
Isaac Thomson, I really appreciate your time. You were fighting on LFA 181. I'm not sure what time that is over in the States, but for all the fans back home, it's April 6th at midday. It's really nice time for us.
Nice,
Typically,
nice.
typically when Aussies are fighting overseas, it's like getting up at 4 in the morning.
Oh
So
my God.
for midday, it's nice. Uh, what is on for the rest of your day?
Nothing. Video games and sleep.
Oh, very nice. Hope you
Yeah,
get
I'm
some.
done for the weekend now, so just rest and drink a lot of water load, and yeah.
I hope you get some W's in Warzone.
Thank you, thank you.
I know you spoke about in the past. Last question from me. Will Australia see you fight professionally on home soil?
That's one of my dreams. If I had a choice, I would have my debut back home. Sydney would be perfect, but if it's in Perth or Melbourne, man, I
You
haven't fought back home since I was an AMI. So yeah, that's a big dream for me.
It's been a long time. UFC's got that deal with Sydney. There's 2 more events
Exactly.
sometime over the next
I'm on
3
the
years.
time for it. It's definitely possible.
Absolutely. Bring that featherweight belt back to Australia.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like I had another question there, but I don't remember. Just too much fun chatting.
It's all good.
I greatly I appreciate your time. Thank you for talking to me today, and best of luck in
Yeah,
your
thank
fight.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you.